Which was 45 minutes from where we were at. So we had to divert somebody else.
Instead of using that old one.
Oh my god.
But then it all worked out. God damn it, Dylan, I asked you to look at your bag. Jesus Christ.
Where'd you get married then?
In Plymouth.
In Plymouth?
Yeah, it's,
In Michigan?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, Plymouth, I know that's down by
She's gonna walk. No, we were inside. We see the shade looking sideways out there.
Yeah, when we go to school.
And they sort of had things coordinated.
Fine. Making a movie of it, like I do with every wedding.
Whatever happens.
Everybody knows where they're headed.
During lunch?
Lunch, I think, is after the ceremony. So it'll be like a...
We're at 7.
You guys know where you're staying?
The sight of God with family and friends to witness the commitment that Joanna and Dylan are making to each other today. You are all here because each of you are a part of this couple's life, and they wanted me to express their thankfulness to all of you for sharing this most important day with them as they pledge their union to one another. A wedding is an occasion to celebrate, to sing, to embrace, to hold hands, and to share a closeness of spirit with everyone present. Marriage is a promise between two people who love each other. A wedding is not a casual event, nor is it a private affair between two people. Rather, it is a moment of public declaration of their commitment to each other, accepting responsibility for one another and oneself. It is the beginning of a journey. Before we go any farther, we want to make a mention of two dear friends who could not be here today, Louis and Helen. We wish that they could be part of this ceremony, but Sunset Cove has a policy about dogs. But I know that they're here in spirit, happily wagging their tails. Dylan and Joanna, you are linking your lives in the closest possible relationship, that of a husband and wife. There will be many challenges to your patience and wisdom, but your love, support, and belief in each other will create a union that will last a lifetime. Marriage symbolizes the intimate sharing of two lives. This sharing will not diminish, but rather enhance the individuality of each partner. Now, Dylan's brother, Tim Brock, will perform Hotel Yorba. That was wonderful. Thank you. Okay. That is crazy. The wedding ceremony is one of the most beautiful and meaningful expressions of love that we have. And love is what gives our lives meaning. Today, as you join your lives in love, hold on to that sacred essence that is you, for it is that essence that each of you have grown to love. This is a reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. Again, I saw vanity under the sun in the case of solitary individuals. Although they are without children or kindred, there is no end to their toil, and they are never satisfied with riches. For whom am I toiling, they asked, and depriving myself of pleasure? Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. but woe to one who is alone and falls and does not have another to help. Again, if two shall sleep together, they keep each other warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though one might prevail against another, two will prevail against one. The exchange of vows is a pledge of willingness to embrace all that marriage demands. It is a solemn promise to bind yourselves to each other in love, now and forever, without condition or reservation. Dylan and Joanna, you have built your relationship on love, understanding, commitment, and respect. You have learned to understand each other's needs and respect each other's differences. You have searched your hearts for what a true marriage is to you, and you stand here today ready to declare a deeper and more profound commitment to each other. So now, Dylan and Joanna, are you ready to enter into this marriage and be loving, faithful, and supportive through all your days together? Do you pledge yourselves to the growth of your love, to be patient and considerate, understanding and honest, respectful of each other's individuality, and to cherish and honor each other? Joanna, do you take Dylan to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, forsaking all others as long as you both shall live? And Dylan, do you take Joanna to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, forsaking all others as long as you both shall live?
I do.
That was nice and loud. I like that. This is Sonnet 17 by Pablo Neruda. I do not love you as if you were salt rose or topaz, or the arrow of carnations the fire shoots off. I love you as certain dark things are to be loved, in secret, between the shadow and the soul. I love you as the plant that never blooms, but carries in itself the light of hidden flowers. Thanks to your love, a certain solid fragrance, risen from the earth, lives darkly in my body. I love you without knowing how or when or from where. I love you straightforwardly, without complexities or pride. So I love you because I know no other way than this, where I does not exist nor you. So close that your hand on my chest is my hand. So close that your eyes close as I fall asleep. And now maybe have the rings, please. There they are. A ring is a beautiful symbol of never-ending love. It has no beginning or end. It is complete, like the love you share today. May these rings you give to each other be a loving token of the promise you have freely given. Dylan, as you place the ring on Joanna's finger, please repeat after me. With this ring I thee wed. Let this ring be a symbol of love, deeper than words can express. I promise to love, honor, and cherish you for all our days. You are my best friend, my life partner, and my one true love. May this ring always remind you that you are surrounded by my love, now and forever. Joanna, as you place the ring on Dylan's finger, please repeat after me. With this ring I be wed.
This ring I be wed.
Let this ring be a symbol of love,
Let this ring be a symbol
deeper than words can express. I promise to love, honor, and cherish you for all our days. You are my best friend, my life partner, and my one true love. May this ring always remind you, that you are surrounded by my love, now and forever. Joanna and Dylan, your hearts are hereby joined. Sooner or later, we begin to understand that love is more than verses or valentines or romance in the movies. We begin to know that love is the here and now, real and true, the most important thing in our lives. For love is the creator of our fondest memories and the foundation of our fondest dreams. Love is a promise that is always kept, a fortune that can never be spent, a seed that can flourish in the most unlikely of places, and the radiance that never fades. This mysterious and magical joy is the greatest treasure of all, known only by those who love. Dylan and Joanna, you are blessed by the words of this ceremony. This ceremony is the beginning of married life. And so we ask, may Almighty God unite your hearts in the never-ending bond of true love. May peace live always in your hearts and in your home. May you have true friends to stand by you. May daily problems never cause you undue anxiety. May your heart's desire always be toward good works. And may God bless you with many happy years together. Dylan and Joanna, we rejoice with you that you have found each other and will henceforth find the deeper meaning and richness of life because you share it. You have declared your love and purpose before this gathering. You have made your pledge to each other by the taking of vows and the exchanging of rings. Therefore, in accordance with the power and authority vested in me by the state of New York, I declare that you are now husband and wife, partners in life. You may now kiss the bride.
The operative words are a couple of words because I'm followed by my better half. I was going to say a lot more. But anyway, I just want to thank everyone for coming, obviously, especially Dylan's family and everyone else, of course. And we were pretty lucky with the weather, as probably I've seen. And just point out that Joanna was born not far from here. As a matter of fact, on a clear day, if you look up the river, you can see the hospital where she was born. And also on a clear day, if you look up the hill, the house where she went to after she was born, and even the school she first went to. So, on that note, I let Ann fill in all the rest of it.
Okay, I'm chatty, but I'm no good at speeches without reading. So here I go. Better? Better. Closer. I do agree that every pot has its cover, but it's a bit like Tupperware. Finding the perfect fit lid takes patience and luck. Today, a great match is sealed. No need to kiss any more frogs or sort through your mismatched Tupperware. Dylan and Joanna are a smart pair who are quite capable of sorting life out. And Dylan already knows lots about Joanna. But I do have a few insights to share with him. Some that come from my own many mom mistakes. My first mistake, Dylan has already rectified. Most children have an I want a dog phase for a season or two. Joanna had that unmet for 21 years. I never listened. Dylan, being a much faster learner, fixed that last year. Louis is an adoring third part of this marriage, as is Helen. Another mom error I made during Joanna's first years was not realizing that she had already her own independent and distinct interests. When she didn't respond immediately when I would call to her, I dragged her off to an audiologist. The audiologist told me Joanna heard everything just fine, but she was just much happier, exploring, climbing, and checking things out for herself. I also discovered the hard way that she understood better than I. Make no assumptions and to look before you leap. At age 3, I signed her up for dance school. After one class, she told me she wanted to quit. I told her your sisters liked it very much. And I said, besides, I already wrote the check and paid. She showed her enormous good sense when she said, I'm not my sisters, and please don't write the check until you see if I like something. Dancing school may have been a bust, but she immediately taught herself how to juggle. She has a killer basketball shot and can meet a softball squarely. Not remembering this mom mistake, years later I kept trying, and I enrolled her in colonial camp at George Washington's headquarters in White Plains. Now those July days were sweltering, quite dreadful for open hearth cooking. When I asked her when the week was over how it went, she said, maybe we should have just gone to the pool instead. Yeah, once again, she showed her hard-nosed, practical viewpoint that somehow was eluding me. And I do have one other tidbit to offer Dylan. This one I think he may know already. If Joanna was hankering for some new shoes, they aren't Jimmy Choos or Manalo Blahnik heels. No, none of that. They're probably imported athletic shoes, also known as sneakers. And here my advice is quite simple. Even if that shoe fits, try to talk her out of it. She has plenty already. And now to end on a serious note, we do root for a pile of good days ahead for Joanna and Dylan. Days filled with lots of love and laughter. And here's to their signing up for their very own Verizon cell phone family plan.
I want to think about Dylan's life. It's kind of got a dramatic sort of sweep to it, like a novel. You know, it almost seems like he's always getting ready for the next chapter in the novel he's writing. And I think about the first epic part of his life. I call it Great Expectations. Little Dylan was one of these guys that would literally walk around with an encyclopedia and read it and quote facts. And before Google, it was, in our family at least, it was Ask Dylan. You know, if you had a question, Dylan would have an answer. And then he got into the geography bee thing, which is obviously like a spelling bee, only you compete with on geography. And he did quite well. He got up to a state level on that, and he was like the littlest guy up there. You know, everybody else was like, seemed like 2 feet taller than he was. Then, you know, he developed this incredible insight, I thought, for his age. In '92, we got the New Yorker, and he got very embroiled in the Clinton-Bush campaign. And we literally were having, you know, he'd read the New Yorker, and we'd be discussing, you know, all the fine detail, or fine points about the political, the way it was going to play out, and, you know, his concerns about Bush, and how horrible it would be if Bush 1 was elected again. So, you know, all through this, he was developing what I think was just an incredible conversational style or gift. This guy, you know, Dylan's a great guy to sit down with a cup of coffee and just talk. And he just got these very challenging sometimes and rewarding conversations with Dylan. He's a master of conversation. So all this was present in the earlier part of his life. I mean, sit down with a 7th grader and be talking national politics. So then, the second epic of his life was big adjustments. We went through high school and then into college, and you know, we jumped him ahead a year, and he went to University of Michigan at age 16. And, you know, we had all these, just kind of set him up for, in a sense, lots of high expectations. So how did Dylan handle those adjustments? You know, he was in school, he was out of school a couple times. I think it really took a special amount of courage to go back. When you've left school for a year, to go back is amazing. I mean, it takes most people transfer at that point, and yet he came back and he finished out. He did very well. And then, you know, he kept wanting to go to New York, and you know, so we were really afraid of New York. We thought New York City would be too much. It was just too much in New York, and he ended up getting his MFA at Hunter, doing well. Coming back, still looking for what he wanted to do. We were a little afraid of him, then deciding to come back to New York again after, and what was this, 2 years ago? Yeah. And there were some really key people along the way through this, kind of what I call his adjustment phase. He had very close friends. Katie's here, and Ka, and just wonderful friends when he was kind of going through the rough parts. So then he decided that he was going to come back to New York and he was going to stay on a couch and he was going to walk dogs. And to me that seemed like not a real viable plan. You know, I was thinking, how long could that go on for? You know, how long did it go on for?
Until that client liked him so much that she took him on as an office manager. A few months. Yeah. 5 months. Yeah.
So then he found another job working. He took care of a lot more than this woman's dog for a while, and then he answered what was it? Craigslist, an ad viewer. Yeah, and so that was about a year ago, wasn't it?
November, yes.
So Dan and Barry have brought him into their operation, and he's done well there. I'm still not clear on what he does there.
We don't know either.
Perfect job.
That's a good job.
Yeah, very good. Whatever it is. Anyways, and then the most important phase, I think the third phase of his life is great realizations, is what we're seeing today. We're seeing, he met Joanna, and it's just been wonderful to see their love together. You know, it's you're heartwarming when you get to be in a room with true love, and I've just been. They're not. They don't talk overtly about it. They don't brag about it, or they don't do any of that. There's just, you can tell it's there, and it's a quiet, wonderful thing. So when I think about Dylan, I think about the saga of Dylan. I think about great expectations. Then the courage to make the adjustments. I've seen him pick himself up several times and keep coming back, and here he is, based on that, with wonderful, great realizations. And here's to the new couple, Mr. and Mrs. Brock, from the Brock family, and everyone else from our side. Congratulations, great life together. Hey.
Definitely on the bottom of things that I'm into, but today is a very special day, so make an exception. Carolyn, one of Joanna's older sisters, and I just wanted to thank everyone for coming, and this has been one of the happiest weekends of my life because I've never seen my sister so happy, and Dylan so happy. So, I'm excited. Beyond pleased that she's found her perfect match, and I hope for many years of happiness in the future for both her and Dylan. I first met Dylan when we went for pizza in Harlem last September, which was actually a year to today, or maybe yesterday. Dylan and I were horrified that Joanna was on a no-carb diet, so she didn't share any pizza with us. But beyond that, I could tell that something was really clicking with the two of them, and I knew that wouldn't be the last time I saw him. Joanna and I have shared a lot over the years, including a crappy apartment on the Upper East Side, hundreds of enormous delivery.com bills. So I think we spent so much that we might have qualified for a free laptop at one point. Failed nights out in Stamford, Connecticut. Epic suburban shopping mall sprees all over Westchester in Connecticut. Lots of laughs, 20-something angst about what you're supposed to do with the rest of your life. We still kind of have that, and I'm not in my 20s anymore, but we still can have it. And then endless conversations about how we're never dating anyone ever again, ever. How we're serious this time. I'm so happy that you jumped back in there and, got right back in the game, and it was perfect timing to find your perfect match and your life partner. I couldn't be happier for the two of you. I think I hit the sister and brother-in-law jackpot on this one. Yeah. And I'm supposed to add 2 sentences of something nice because I smudged my makeup on Joanna's dress this morning. So, yeah, you're great. I don't know if I said that already, and I'm so happy for you. Thank you.
All right, my name is Ka. If you guys haven't met me yet, I'm one of Dylan's best friends. I want to start off by thanking the Malloys, Mr. and Mrs. Malloy, and the Brocks, Dr. and Mrs. Brock, for making this day possible. It's been really great. I'm not a big speech person. In fact, I had a really hard time writing this speech, because usually when I have to write a speech or do anything important, the first person I call is Dylan. He pretty much writes it for me. So unfortunately, there's very little original material in this speech. It's largely plagiarized off the internet. Dylan and I, we've been friends since 2nd grade. The way that he tells the story is that at that time we were aspiring artists, and I happened to be walking by his desk and he was drawing monsters, and I stopped at it and I said, hey, those are pretty cool monsters. What really was happening was I was thinking, I could draw better monsters than that. So since then, we've been best friends. We've been through a lot together. I've seen him grow up. I've seen him, go to state for the geography bee. I've seen him be labeled as a genius and a prodigy. I've seen him become a singer-songwriter, a producer, a novelist. What else, Dylan? Producer, dog walker, and most recently a project manager, which is what his title, I think, is, right, Dylan? Yeah. So, in addition to seeing him grow up professionally, I have also been a front seat observer in his love life. So, Dylan, buddy, to be fair, all right, you haven't had the best luck with the ladies in your life, just to be fair. And I think the reason is because you have ridiculous standards. They would have to pretty much be perfect in order for him to even think about it. So I was beginning to think, he's getting a little old here, that it would really never happen for him. But one day, about a year ago, he called me up and he said, I met a girl. Her name's Joanna. That's nice. She's really pretty. Okay, that's number 1 on your list. She's really nice. She's smart. She knows about books. She knows about music. And she read my novel, and she likes it. So my first thought was, great, she's nice. And second is, man, why'd you make her read your novels? But she stuck around despite that, so we love her for that. So at that conversation, a few words of advice, I told him, play it cool, all right? Don't lay it on too heavy. She sounds like a keeper, so don't scare her away. And for God's sake, whatever you do, don't propose to her for at least 2 or 3 years. So a year later, we are here. But you know what? I can admit it when I'm wrong. I can tell you guys are perfect for each other. I can see how happy Joanna you make Dylan and how happy Dylan makes Joanna. And literally, Joanna, you're the perfect woman for Dylan, and you really do deserve the perfect husband. So it's really lucky, Dylan, you got it before she found one. But really, I love you, man. So let's all raise a toast to the bride and the groom, to love, to laughter, and happily ever afters. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.